What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Remember to like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. On today's show, we are so honored to have the legend, the OG, the one, the only, Mr. Cuttino Mobley. How you doing today, sir?
I'm amazing, man. Sitting here in this heat in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, because you actually just got out of practice for the big three, right?
Yeah, we had practice a little earlier, but then I go work out afterwards and then hanging around the kids a little bit.
Let's go ahead and hit on that. How great does it feel to be around your kids right now, especially with all this craziness going on in the world?
Oh man, listen, I'm actually blessed and privileged to be able to be around my kids on a consistent basis. My son Miles, he's 12. He travels with me every weekend. We usually stay. He goes with me out in the summertime everywhere. My daughter, she's 8, so she stays close more to mom. But her and I are super, of course. She's my twin. She took a fall the other day, so she broke a little ankle on her foot. So we got her in a wheelchair and in the boot. So she's just getting pampered right now.
Hey, well, I definitely hope she feels better because I know too much about getting hurt and having to wear boots. That stuff freaking sucks. Would not wish that upon nobody. And on the weekends, you guys played in the big three. You are with the team. Power, how's the team doing right now?
We're doing okay, man. We got a big game tomorrow. We play the Aliens, and they're really good. They move a lot. So I think it's just about being disciplined and staying with our principles and just attacking as much as we can.
When you look at the guys in the big three, people that are average basketball watchers think that, man, these guys are just old guys trying to still have it. But no, these games get very competitive and they're very real. How blessed does it feel for you to even still be able to compete at a high level?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm super blessed, right? Being 46 years old and still playing ball at a high level. These guys are good, they're skilled, and they're younger also. And I think for me, the thinking kind of helps me stay in the game and then preparing my body. I'm waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock every morning and working on my body for a numerous amount of times throughout the day because it's a job. So, listen, I'm just blessed to be out there, and if I can contribute and help, that's great.
How for you as a guy that was always able to, get his shot off going against, all of the great kind of defenders, but you being at the age of 46, most guys your age aren't even doing this. So for you to even still be out there competing, like what are some of the tips or something that you would give to guys that want to continue to play even quote unquote beyond their prime years?
I think you got to take care of your body. You listen to your body, get a lot of rest, a lot of stretching, a lot of functional mobility work, and then the details, the fundamentals of basketball. If you know the fundamentals of basketball, the older you get, you don't have to score 30 or 40. But if you can guide guys that are, younger, faster, maybe not as smart yet, guide them into easy baskets. I think that's being a distributor. Jason Kidd did that. Him in his older years, he guided New York with Carmelo Anthony. Then he got to Dallas and he guided Dallas to a championship. So I think, when you can do that, you're older, you can see and set guys up and help them understand the game a lot better by playing it.
The average sports career is only about 3 years. You succeeded that by being a 10-plus-year vet, playing for multiple teams. What was it like playing for you in the NBA, especially in the 2000s?
It was aggressive. I think during my era, it was about bigs and shooting guards. And me being a shooting guard, I had to go up against all types of shooting guards every single night. So, those shooting guards were talented, strong, lethal. So I think coming from Philadelphia, I was already ready for it. From a rough neighborhood, just the adversity and the hard work put into it. Grew up with Kobe Bryant, and you growing up with Kobe, and you growing up with Eddie Jones and Aaron McKee and Rick Brunson and Alvin Williams and Rasheed Wallace and Jason Lawson and all those guys. You can't help but to be better. So, I think that for me helped me prepare me for the NBA.
And you were a late bloomer too. A lot of people don't know that. Like, how most guys start out playing when they were kids. You actually picked up the game later. Like, what was it about basketball that you identified with?
Well, I think just being able to, the ball is my paintbrush, and then the court is the canvas, so I can be able to be as creative as possible. The love, when I picked the ball up at 13, the love never stopped from there, and I just wanted to be better and better each day. So I was trying to catch up to everybody else. So I think that was another burning desire to be on their level. I tell kids now, be patient with yourself. But at that time, I wasn't really patient. I was trying to get it as fast as I could. So the time will come when you succeed. But I think for me, I was just so obsessed in the game that I got better faster.
As you got obsessed in the game, your skills started to develop. Who did you try to pattern your game after, especially as a left-handed guard?
Well, I see that's the thing, right? There was really no left-handed. There was Nick Van Exel, he was super tricky. There's David Robson, he was a big, Chris Mullen was just a shooter, basically, and move without the ball, was excellent without the ball. So it really wasn't a lefty. So my lefty that I watched that I wanted to be like was Chris Williams out of Colonel Dockery High School when I was in high school. He was a senior and I was a freshman. So I idolized him because he was the point guard. He was tall and he can do everything. So I think that's what helped me kind of, get to the point where I formed my own identity.
What was the moment growing up that hit you that basically made you say, you know what, I really can make a life out of this. Like this can be my actual job.
I don't know, man. I think for me, going to prep school, playing in the top, being one of the number one prep school in the country, MCI at the time, and then coming back home and then playing in the Sunny Hill League and playing with pros. I think probably my sophomore year in college, I said to myself, I can play with pros. And then from then on, it just grew.
Were you a little hesitant about playing against them at first? Because, most guys, when they go up against the professionals, they feel like I'm not good enough. But then there's a select few that can say, I can hold my own against them and I can actually beat them.
Well, it's not about beating them. I was saying that back then or holding my own. It was just effort. So my whole thing was just hustle, effort, get out the way, shoot the ball when you're open, play defense, and shut your mouth. That was my thing in the beginning. I think kids now, they're playing with trainers and they're doing all this other stuff. So, their trainers are the same trainers that train pros. So they think they're just as good as the pro, right? So there's no humbleness to that. And it, likely so. If Jason Tatum or Kobe Bryant or Stephen Curry is training with this guy and I'm training with the guy, I got the same moves. So sooner or later, I'm gonna be just like you. That's what they're thinking. But that's not how it works. But, so for me, we weren't training. We didn't have as many trainers back then. And our one trainer was a guy who trained all of us. He was training pros. So, you got to put yourself around pros, but you still have to be humble also.
With the kind of career that you had, you started out in Portland and then really blossomed when you got to the Rockets. And then later on in your career, you continued to have the success. Out of all the teams that you played for, who was the team that you actually felt more at home with and more comfortable with?
Well, I started in Houston. I got drafted by Houston Rockets, not Portland. I got drafted by Houston, and I grew up in Houston, basically, as a young man. And then when we went to Orlando, Steve, myself, and Calvin Cato, I got asked for a trade to go to Sacramento. Sacramento was great. It was easy because we didn't really have to dribble the ball as much. We had a whole bunch of shooters on the floor and they passed the ball extremely well. And I think I really found my kind of niche place when I was with the Clippers because those guys who weren't going to the playoffs, they haven't been in the playoffs, and then myself going there and helping them get over that hump, I felt more, Houston, we were winning, right? Houston, you win. Those guys, the city was used to a championship already. But then when you get to a team like the Clippers, Lakers was the team, right? Lakers still the team. Lakers in Boston. They won the most championships. But just to get to the playoffs and be able to fight and see those fans and that deserve it and, long-term fans and guys that deserve it in NBA on my team, the Brands and the Corey Maggettys and those guys of the world, Sean Livingston, seeing them in the playoffs, it made me feel like, okay, I feel good now. I helped contribute to, this success.
The NBA today is extremely guard oriented. Backcourts are the new thing. You got the Splash Brothers, and then you continue to have those great backcourt duos. How do you feel that you and Steve Francis, how do you feel that you guys did against the backcourt duos of today?
We would have did extremely well. We were more athletic than I think they were. They're more skilled than we were at the time, but Steve was ahead of his time as well. But I think, me, I was top of the league in 3-point field goal percentage. So I shot 4. And if you let me shoot 10 of them with my off the dribble and dunking the ball, I think that would have been a problem also today's game. But listen, it's, I love the young generation and what these guys are doing. They're so skilled. It's just fun to watch.
Do you feel that your era was the best?
As far as two guards, yes.
Out of all the two guards that you faced, which one do you think gave you like your toughest assignment? Like, who was your toughest opponent?
I mean, everybody had something different. There was, Kobe Bryant, and then there was, maybe a Tracy McGrady, and then it was Allen Iverson, and then it was, Michael Redd, and then it was Brandon Roy, and it was Ray Allen, and it was Dwayne. I mean, you pick your poison. It doesn't really, it's just everybody played differently. So,
Even though, you went up against all of those guys and you held your own, everybody has to know when it's time to walk away. When did you know it was time to step away from the game?
Well, I have a different, unique story. I got pushed out back in 2008. I was a misdiagnosis on the heart. So they wouldn't let me play anymore. So I was at 32 at the time. So, I still had some left in the tank. But, it is what it is.
Who would you have liked to have played with?
Jason Kidd, Kevin Garnett, LeBron. I wanted to play with LeBron. I thought I would have complimented LeBron pretty well. Me being, being able to stretch the floor for him, and being athletic and play D, the whole thing. So I miss that.
As much as you missed that, your game literally got better as you got older. You're still doing great in the big three. The playoffs are about to start, and you're actually a champion in the big three. With everything that you have been through, how did it feel to finally get that championship?
It was great, man. And I did it with guys that I love, Quinn McGetty, Q Richardson, Big Birdman, Baby. Those are my guys. They were my guys before I played, and they were my guys when we played. So, before we played together and then afterwards. But, it's just always great to win with your brothers. And for us, we were a tight, knit bunch, and, it showed it on the court. And we came up with the W.
Yeah, and I was watching that game, and I said, man, it's just great to see that these guys are still competing. I actually was at the big three, I want to say back in June of this year. Had a chance to, come out and try to cover it, but something happened behind the scenes. I'll leave that conversation there. But it didn't stop me. It made me want to, continue to push, and it made me want to get better. What are some of the things that you continue to do to push through to get better?
Well, I mean, I think, I'm a student of knowledge, one, and I wake up early too, right? So I don't think about getting better as much as it is staying trained, right? You have to stay trained. And if you don't, work on your game and work on your body, it's kind of hard to stay consistent. Right. So, I'm a big believer in waking up early and working on my body early and working on my game. I don't care if I know how to make a layup, still make layups every single day and form shooting. And, it's repetitive. It's, I tell people all the time, you got to fall in love with the boring, the Groundhog Day, especially when it comes to perfection. Right. So, no one can be perfect. But, if you can improve every single day, your mind, that's the most important thing. Every single day, but you got to challenge it every single day too. And I think that's where the consistency comes in at, and the discipline. And I think that's where any player or person becomes that much better themselves.
Before we get out of here, these are some of the final questions that I always ask my guests. Number one, what advice would you give to some of those young players that are hungry, that are still waiting to get that call up, or that are still waiting to improve their game? Like, what advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, listen, you have to, depends on what you want, right? You have to ask yourself, what do I want from this, right? So if you can really look yourself in the mirror and say, I want to be the best version of myself when it comes to this game, then don't worry about anything else. Just keep working hard, and sooner or later, it will show. But if you're wanting the money or the girls or the fame or the people to call your name, that's temporary. You're going to keep wanting that. So my thing is create a regimen, sign a contract with yourself and just don't negotiate and go from there. Right? Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about accolades. Don't worry about somebody's not clapping for you. Clap for yourself. Motivate yourself. Speak to yourself nicely every single day. Wake up early. Try your best, and it will come around, because you got to think about it. There's so many different situations that happen. I only played 1 year of high school basketball. Michael Jordan got cut his sophomore year. You know, you got to think about all type. Kobe 1 year didn't even score in the whole summer. When he was 10 or 11 years old when he was playing. So, I mean, it's just so many different stories that go on. But if you love something, it's not a job anymore, right? You constantly keep working. I don't get paid millions of dollars, but I'm still waking up every single morning, working out, doing my same routine because I love it. It's my therapy, right? And when, you know, if accolades and things come, then that's great. But I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because it keeps me at peace. That's just my way. So when you're these younger guys, you know, you can't want all the accolades and things like that because you become spoiled with that. I want you to fall in love with the process and the game. And then from there, everything else will take care of itself.
Love that answer. Wish we had a little bit more time. But before we get out of here, the last two questions. I hope you enjoyed your time on my show today. And because you're a former pro hooper, I feel like you can definitely relate to this next question. Who would you like to see on the Chris Gunther Show as a guest that's a former player? And if you have any connect or contact, can you help a young brother out?
I don't know, man. Who would I like to see? So many guys. You know, Royce White. Royce White, he's very interesting. Interesting. There's a couple of different guys. Mahmoud Raouf is amazingly interesting.
Yes, sir. He still got game. I love seeing him cook them threes, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much that.
Hey, well, all I can do is try. Before we jump out of here, if anybody wanted to connect with you or follow your journey, how can they do that?
I'm on Instagram. It's called Cuttino's Life, Cuttinos Life, Life. On TikTok, Cuttino Mobley. Twitter is Cuttino's Life as well. And just come DM me, you know, like my stuff, follow me, whatever it is. We got some good information for people.
Oh, I definitely gave you a follow, just saying. So I'm glad that I was able to shoot my shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Cuttino Mobley on the Chris Gunther Show. Cue my theme song. See y'all next time.